I don't know about that. Roommate, did you have something particular about this you wanted to say, or what's up?
Well, yeah, I had a question because we're one seat away from the Republicans controlling the House of Representatives. They're at 217. The votes are still counting.
Could be wrong,
Our
but I
mark,
think that like isn't that almost foregone at this point?
it's basically a statistical improbability that Democrats can make a way to a House majority. But I guess my question was for Dylan and for you. So, we know that there's enormous bipartisan support domestically for the United States to financially support Ukraine and provide, assets. But Republicans seem to be more reluctant to have like unconditional aid, and I don't know if that's if that's because they genuinely don't care, or because Biden's the sitting president, and so they want to put a little asterisk and you know conditions on the support that they would offer Ukraine. But if Republicans take the House, they don't have the Senate.
Hmm.
Um, but I wonder how this calculus like will change, their ongoing support for Ukraine and for Biden's agenda for Ukraine if they think that, this will trigger some sort of military conflict with Russia. Do you think House Republicans are basically going to tell Biden, no, we're done, we're tapping out, or do you think they're going to push him to be much more aggressive in response now that two Poles have been killed?
Um,
I don't, especially with Polish people getting killed. Like I personally don't see Republicans like pulling their support from Ukraine as long as it's still broadly popular in the U.S. But I don't know if Dylan thinks differently.
I think I've seen a lot of people really scared that a Republican House majority could pull support for Ukraine, and a lot of this is based off of like comments of like Marjorie Taylor Greene and like
Hmm.
like hardcore radicals that don't have a lot of support and aren't even that well liked within the Republican Party. There's like a few senators, I think like Tom Cotton, but the vast majority of support is still for Ukraine. I think the one statement that did scare me a little bit was with Kevin McCarthy said, in a Republican House majority, we're not going to be writing blank checks for Ukraine. But the problem is when you have a two Republican House majority, even if he attempted to whip that majority into order to stop the Biden administration from doing something, there's no way he could achieve that on Ukraine, which has so much like bipartisan support, and it doesn't seem to be a winning issue. If there's anything running out of this midterms, like being against aid to Ukraine isn't something that got you a lot of support
Yeah.
I
in the United
I
States. So
wholeheartedly agree, but consider the timing, right? So we get this news today. They are having preliminary uh, votes on speakership, right? So like the Freedom Caucus announced today that they plan on making an objection to McCarthy's speakership just to show that they have the leverage over him. He doesn't have a margin for error in terms of whipping votes. He's not very good at it compared to Pelosi. But if he wants to be speaker, that leverage goes both ways, doesn't it? Like, even though the majority of the Republican caucus supports providing, ongoing support to Ukraine, there is a vocal minority that is not interested in doing that. And he'll have to, if he wants the votes to be speaker, I wonder if people will like play that leverage over him and be like, look, you want us to back you for speaker? We just get this, news report that there might be an Article 5 triggering because of two stray Russian missiles. So if you want our vote, you're going to have to commit to, I don't know, truncating the support to Ukraine. Um, I don't know if that's possible, but that's kind of why I posed the question, because the timing is so bad. You know what I mean? For
I
McCarthy and for Biden and for everybody else.
McCarthy is in a bad position right now because he's just in a weak political position. He's vulnerable. He might still end up being House Majority Leader because like who's the other option really? There's no. I don't think anybody that has like enough support behind him to become House Majority Leader and is like
Right.
instead of him. But
Right.
uh, I really don't think that this strike in Poland is going to send the message to Republicans, let's be weaker on Russia. If anything, it would, I think, send the message like we have to be stronger on them because now they've crossed like a line, right? And now we
Sure.
need to make sure that the message is sent that you can't kill citizens of NATO in NATO territory and then be rewarded with less aid. to their military opponents. Like the message here is, oh, they killed NATO citizens. Let's be chiller. Let's reel it in and make sure we give Ukraine the least amount of tools possible to fight back against it. I think you would need to see a massive dovish change in the Republican Party, which might be true amongst certain figures in the party, but I don't think it's true amongst the majority of them. Like I can still think of people like Adam Kinzinger and like people like that who would very much fight against that.
Yeah, but Kinzinger's, he's on his way out, to your point. Then the other question becomes, though, so like 20 years ago, after 9/11, we saw in a international crisis, I think President Bush's approval rating was in like the 80s or 90s, right? I don't think that's possible now. I think like the domestic politics are so divisive. I cannot imagine, even if the Republican Party collectively chooses to continue supporting Ukraine, part of me feels that they will be inclined to do so in a way that doesn't look particularly supportive of Biden. I feel like they're going to try to split the difference, right? And maybe you agree or disagree, but if they choose to continue to support Biden's agenda with Ukraine, they're going to do it in a way that, they're not going to rally, but Mr. President, you're so great. We're rallying behind President Biden's leadership. Like, I feel like those platitudes and that rhetoric.
What would be a smart idea? If they wanted to virtue signal, which is what this would end up being, but if they wanted to, they could just be like, "Wow, Biden's leadership got us 2 dead Polish people. Can you believe this? I can't. Wow, we need to be stronger on this issue. We need to show strength." And then they could do it from like an even more pro-Ukraine position. But I think that's more likely than them saying, "Wow, they broke NATO's borders. They broke Poland's borders. They killed NATO citizens. They obviously violated." This is a situation where Article 5 could unironically be called. We need to stand strong. I think is going to be more of the message sent.
Do you think they will do it in a way that that recognizes Biden as the leader of NATO and, encouraging conservative commentators and voters?
I don't think they're going to be nice to Biden. I don't think they're going to be like, Biden is the greatest leader ever. He's going to lead Poland into the glory age of reclaiming its rightful borders.
Right now, it feels like in American politics, the most important possible thing to ever keep in mind is to never give your political opponents wins ever.
Right.
Like, I think that's just like, even if there's like a common sense bill, like Democrats could pass a bill called like the Guarantee Babies Aren't Being Raped at 2 years old bill, and Republicans would be like, okay, well, if you want to do that, you have to give us guns back. Like, it would be like
the burn pit.
They would, the burn pit stuff. Yeah,
or they'd bitch that conservative or that Democrats didn't do it 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, but they'd always want something in exchange for like whatever it is that's being negotiated. Like, it always wants something in exchange, even for stuff that kind of has bipartisan support. That's what it feels like. But
I don't remember that, and like I think that's relatively new. I mean, I was 10 when 9/11 happened. I don't even know if Dylan was born yet, but I mean, like, this was,
It was 3 months old.
Well, there you go. So you should have an eidetic memory on this. But I seem to recall that Democrats were fairly, like, they were embracing that patriotic rhetoric. Like, you were not in a good place to criticize President Bush after those planes hit.
9/11 is always just going to be so special because, like, the United States and the most United States got attacked, right? Like, New York is like the most United States thing about the United States, right?
Yeah.
And New York got hit, so of course, like, almost no matter what, like, people are gonna...
If baseball were a city, it would be New York. That's how American it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like it would be... I know Biden will probably try to court, like he always does, bipartisan support, but I guess it's just interesting. I predict that Republicans will be infinitely less likely to really try to rally behind him and do anything, like you said, to give him... that could be interpreted as a political victory, whereas I feel like 20 years ago, the calculus was different. But maybe because it was an actual domestic attack, in 9/11, we were attacked, it wasn't an ally, maybe that was also something that made it different. But anyway, I just wanted to pick your brain about that. So I'm going to dip, but nice to talk to you, lads, and hopefully we'll have a conversation again if we're not destroyed in nuclear hellfire.
Be careful, babe.
Awesome.
All right, see you guys. Bye.
So Dylan, real quick, I just saw a tweet saying that Article 4 will be triggered, likely, not Article 5.
So they're just gonna consult with people about the territorial integrity and stuff like that. Then.
Yeah, you know what I do think this might get them though? that fucking Western-controlled Air Force.
I
F-16s.
I think it's. I don't know if it's gonna get them that. I think this is gonna get them a lot of anti-air because they're gonna see us like taking down these missiles as a priority moving forward. And I think it might get them like some of the more big ticket questions they've been asking about. Like, if the idea was, and this is what we were just talking about earlier, that we're withholding these long range missiles because they might hit Russian territory, and that would be such a provocation. But then Russia is launching missiles, and even if by accident, hitting Polish territory, breaking years of precedent that we haven't seen since since NATO was established. Like what's the argument now to stop from giving these
Exactly,
missiles to Ukraine? So I think
It
I
would
think
be
the-
really
the
shitty
big-
though, because like, what happens if something happens to where like a
That's why I'm more
like what
in
like
line
what
with,
if like what if like a Russian civilian airliner or some shit like in Iran or whatever? What if a Russian civilian airliner gets hit by like a U.S. like supplied like missile or something, right?
that is the main fear of the Biden administration, is the idea that if we give them these longer range missiles, that gives them more ability to strike deeper into Russia. And what if they use it to do something like that? I guess I would say it's not in their best interest. So I don't understand why they would do such a thing.
Yeah, of course it's not. But like, why even should they even have the capability to?
Well, the capability, it's not necessarily to give them the capability to do that. It's to give them the capability to strike deeper into Russian logistics down south in places in Crimea and Zaporozhia and Donetsk and Luhansk. It means that we can basically force their ammo depots to be further and further back behind enemy lines, which makes it harder for the Russians to supply their soldiers, which ended up being a disaster for them in places like Kherson. That was one of the main reasons they lost Kherson, was because of their piss poor logistics.
I'd feel more comfortable with us having Western-controlled like third-party air support providing air protection than I would with them having the long-range missiles.
I doubt we're going to put our planes.
We're not.
over
That's
Ukraine.
like the last. That's like nuclear levels of shit, right? If we are doing like no-fly zones or if we have planes in areas, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't think we're doing that anytime soon. I think we wouldn't do that outside of like maybe something like that could happen once like the nuclear taboo has been broken, but that's kind of like uncharted territory.
Not true. We have charted it because we are the nukers.
Yes, we are the true nuclear. Dude, I hate when every time somebody brings that up though, because the problem is people are bringing that up as see it can happen, but the problem is the situation in 1945 and 2022 when it comes to the capability of nuclear weapons and who has them is so different. It's impossible to compare them.
No,
It's
yeah,
like
of course,
fighting
of
with
course, of
sticks to
course.
machine guns.
Yeah.
We were the true nukers. You know, there's people who don't believe those weapons exist. They're just fake.
Wouldn't surprise me. I've heard dumber things that people actually believe. So, there's still a lot of people that believe the Earth is flat. Believe it or not.
Still, people support Yi.
Oh, yeah, he's back.
Are you okay?
There was a stock that said whether or not I'd play guitar by the 17th.
Oh, so you're like rigging the markets.
Well, no, rigging the market would have been me investing in that stock.
Really? Can you
Then
show,
announcing
can you
to people
prove
that I'm
right
not gonna
now
do it.
that you haven't rigged the market?
I haven't even created an account on it. I think someone created an add-on for your stock thing that integrates with it, and you can like mark stocks, like the meme video where you see like the ups and downs in real time and all that.
Yeah, I saw the site, but it doesn't. I feel like the Can you link it? Okay, can you guys trade some like and stock so I can see what this looks like? Like and say something on stream, so we can see what people really think about you.
I think that circumcision is a complicated topic in the Western world. Fuck you guys.
Okay, here's an issue that I have for like overlaying this type of thing on stream. Okay, if you want, I'm not a designer at all, so get ready to get mad that I'm giving design advice. Number one, I think that I don't know how you're drawing these lines, but I think from point to point it should be slanted. It shouldn't be this like step function looking thing. I think this looks really weird. I don't think I've ever seen like a stock chart unless we're like trading candlesticks or whatever. Usually these are going to be smoother. Find a way to do that instead of it being like up and down, number one. Number two, for a new value that's better, I think it should probably be colored green rather than red, I would say. Make it green, yeah. Number two. Number three, get rid of all these lines in the background. I don't need to feel like I'm looking at an Excel spreadsheet. It's really weird. 3 or 4, I don't know which critique I'm on. These lines need to be way thicker Like on stream, especially if it's a smaller, it's going to be hard to tell if there's not enough like thickness to the line, like when I used this as an overlay before. But I think that's all I had for that. But right now I don't think this is enough to stick it on stream. It's multiple colors. Click on another stock, see why it's red. Okay. I still think no data points, Destiny, no data points? What do you mean no data points? There are data points. It's the price that it was currently trading for. The graph is drawn in real time. That's why it's a line. You don't have, okay. First of all, the graph might be drawn in real time, but it's obviously only pulling from the API every, 5 seconds or something? I don't think it's updating on every single trade, number one. Number two, it doesn't have to draw in real time. It could draw every 5 to 10 seconds, right? If it draws every 5 seconds, then you can smooth your line out based on what I don't know how often this API allows you to make calls from it without rate limiting you, right? So you don't have to draw it in real time. You could draw it every 5 or 10 seconds. You could, if you wanted to, also use some sophisticated, you could use more sophisticated program to still draw it in real time and have it go up and down as well, but that might get harder, but we don't have to worry about that. But not enough data points to make it smooth. Dog, you can make any 2 data points smooth, okay? Use a diagonal line, okay? What do you mean? You don't know what you're talking about, Destiny. Okay, never mind. You're right. My bad. I'm a dumb fuck. Never mind. Forget everything I said.
You ever see that Onion?
Wait,
skit
hold
where
on.
they
I'm
did
sorry.
this?
I'm getting so triggered right now. Hold on. Destiny, there are 2 general ways to do real-time updates on a web page, long polling and WebSockets. I'm guessing that Manifold doesn't support WebSockets for the API, so the solution of updating on a fixed interval is probably the best / correct solution. Even if you update on a fixed interval, I'm not a programmer, but I imagine there are probably solutions to still make it look like it's a real-time updating graph with a smooth curve. So for instance, let's say that I'm updating on a fixed interval, right? Maybe, even though it's updating every 5 seconds, maybe the graph could be drawn on a 10-second delay. So it's updated here, then it's updated here, then it's updated here, and even though the actual fixed update is coming here, the program itself is only displaying up to here, which would allow you to draw the curves in almost real time. It'd be lagged by 5 to 10 seconds. It's called interpolation. No, you don't even have to interpolate. Or maybe, well, technically this would be interpolation because you're not sampling every single value in between. But I'm just saying that, like, you could technically pull on fixed intervals and still draw a line that is accurately going up and down, because you could be pulling the data from 5 seconds in advance and drawing the data like at a 5-second delay or something. Okay, there are things I'm sure you could do this. Okay. Okay. Sorry. What were you saying?
I was just saying they had an Onion skit where they did exactly this. They had all the news broadcasters attached to like a graph where people could either approve of what they're saying or disapprove. And it was a really funny Onion skit.
Oh, I know. We watched it a few days ago. That's the only reason we're doing it. I think that's where the inspiration for this came from. Because I was
really.
Yeah, we watched it. Yeah.
Damn.
A smooth curve requires more transactions unless you want to lie in the graph. Hey, Roxer. Well, hey, hello? Welcome to computer science. You want me to break your fucking mind? There's literally no such thing in all of digital data as a smooth fucking curve, okay? That's the whole point of sampling something. There is no smooth curve. It's literally 44,000 fucking discrete points that are drawn in a graph, and then there's straight lines that connect every single fucking thing. Stop! There is no such thing as a smooth curve, okay? You can sample more data if you want, but every curve you see in digital data is technically a lie, okay? I don't care. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now. I don't know why I'm arguing about this. I don't care. Stop. Hello. Okay. I'm done. Destiny, it's not that simple. How would it not? How is it not? Okay, here is a question. Let's say that I was writing a program for this, and let's say that I could query every 5 seconds, okay? So I'm querying every 5 seconds. Let's say hypothetically on stream, okay? Let's say that I pull it and I get this data point, then I get this data point, then I get this data point, and then I get this data point, then I get this data point, then I get this data point, okay? Let's say that I do this, okay? Theoretically, couldn't I say that when I've queried my first data point, I'm not drawing anything. The graph is empty on stream. But then when I draw the second data point, once I've hit this one, on stream, I can start showing the journey between here and here. I can do it like this, okay? I don't have to arrive here. Then by the time, when I query this third data point,
this has just appeared on screen, the second data point, and then the line begins to go like this. Then I query, and then I hit the fourth data point, and then the line begins to go up here. But as the line is going, as soon as it hits, then I've queried this one, right? What I'm saying is that you don't have to display the data that you've queried in real time. You could have like a however many seconds the thing is, the calls are, it could be delayed by 2 or 3 or 4 calls in order to smooth out a curve. Right? Or in order to draw lines. If you wanted to, I bet you could probably do a little bit of math, and you could actually make this trail by like 4 or 5 calls. And then with 4 or 5 calls, I bet you can start doing math to actually draw curves in here to make it look cute, but that would probably require more math. But I know you can do this. I know you can do this. You can't do that? I know you can do this. I don't know why you're saying you can't do this. I know you can do this. I don't even think this is calculus. I think this would just be fucking algebra. Stop. I'm not arguing about this. Okay. I'm getting trolled. I know I'm getting trolled in chat. I know I'm getting trolled. False because small cap stocks. Dude, we're DGG. We don't have any small cap stocks. They're all blue chips.